And yeah, hit me up. Do you think there's something wrong with being trans? You think that Ooga Booga noise is an argument? L plus ratio.
How you
Ooga
doing?
Booga, welcome back. I forget your name. If you went by like a different name, definitely refresh
No,
me.
just Uga's fine.
All right, Ooga. Yeah, hit me up. What do you want to talk about?
I honestly respect you. Like you honestly are very respectful to people. You are knowledge. You're very smart. I will totally admit that. You know what you're talking about. But it is different when you see like trans women, but they have no hormone therapy. They have no, like they haven't really been treated for gender dysphoria. They just put makeup on and go online. The thing that bothers me is their following. All their followers, like, support them are kids. They're mostly minors.
I guess like my question is, how do you know that their followers are just like kids, for example? And then also just
because
like,
you can go into
I mean,
their
if
lives.
somebody just wants to like wear makeup or whatever, I really don't see a harm there. Like that's just
No.
them
Well,
doing what
that's
they
not
want
what I'm
to.
saying. I'm saying what bothers me is most of you look at their comments, they'll be like 14, 15-year-old kids. People were
How do you know
talking
that?
them with heart emojis. You can go to their profiles. There's especially one person on here that I have definitely noticed a big pattern of this. And I just think that's weird. Don't think that's weird that like a
I mean, I'm
50-year-old
not
guy
aware of
is
any like
getting
predatory
hearts?
behavior going on there, but I do think that predatory behavior in general is a problem that we should try to address. Although if you're looking at the places where predatory behavior occurs most, it's most often either in the church or in the home with like somebody that you know personally. So I think those are
Well,
probably the places
most
that
of
we
it
want
is in
to
the
want to
home. I
focus on
wouldn't
for the
say
predatory behavior. Yeah, I mean, this is something that affects anybody.
most of it is someone you know, but that does not mean that there aren't predators out there that will engage with minors to try to do something to get minors to engage with them, to interact with them more.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like that doesn't exist. I guess my big concern is that I think that there is a disproportionate media focus on like trying to label all trans people as like, say, for example, that really like feeds into this kind of culture war when I just don't see that being like borne out in the data at all. That like this is a real more significant concern with like queer people than it is with straight people or priests, for example.
Well, see, I'm not saying this is the whole trans community. Do not get me there. You know what I mean? Like I've seen you're not on here trying to do anything like
Types of the
these are.
conversation like constantly, it can kind of like make things seem that way, even if that's not what you're trying to say directly, you know?
But what I'm talking about is not like just the trans community. It's the people that are, like I said, in their 50s and 60s. It just seems like they just put on the makeup just to get this interaction with it. It don't seem like they really have gender dysphoria. I really don't think that a lot of these people that I've seen have it.
Well, I can't know for sure.
Well, the last time we did talk too, though, we did talk about like the bathroom situation, correct? Remember that?
I don't fully remember our conversation.
Just about like, I don't know if I would feel safe with my kids going in the bathroom, and you said, well, they have stalls and all this, right? But I sent you a video of a trans woman literally in the bathroom mirror playing with herself. This was out in the open, and that's kind of what my
Well, sure.
argument
There,
was with you
there are
last time.
there are weirdos that come from like any walk of life. I mean, I'm sure you could find like a video of like a cisgender woman doing the same thing, and I would think that that would also be creepy and wrong. But this is once again the problem where like when we focus on the anecdote of just like one person being bad, we can kind of paint whatever narrative we want. And the way that this happens with conservative media outlets is they'll only show the anecdotes of like a trans person being weird to try to make other people think that like, oh, trans people are dangerous or weird in that way.
Well, it's just that the last time we talked, you said that this doesn't happen. That they just go into the stalls, use the bathroom. There
Not to a statistically significant
was
degree.
nothing to worry about, like, pretty much.
Yeah, I want to be clear. My argument is not that like there's no such thing as like a trans like, predator. Just like there's obviously like cis predators too. Rather, my argument is that based on all available data, there is no evidence that trans people are disproportionately predacious in say like bathrooms, for example.
Well, yeah, I don't think there would be enough data for that yet.
We actually do have data on like states that have passed legislation which protects trans people's access to bathroom versus states that have restricted trans people's access to bathrooms. What we found is that before versus after, when states protect trans people's access to bathrooms, there's no change in the amounts of assaults and privacy violations that occur. However, in states that pass measures which restrict trans people's access to bathrooms, there's an increase in the assaults and privacy violations which occur in bathrooms. This increase in assaults and privacy violations is predominantly against trans and gender nonconforming people. It
does make a father worried about, stuff like that. You don't want your daughter saying, that. Like, I mean, I would probably, go off, do something, and then that would be a hate crime for me. Hate
I
crime.
wouldn't want children exposed to like any kind of predatory behavior. Focusing your worry on like trans people, the trans community, is misguided.
Like, I haven't seen many stories of, women doing this in bathrooms. Have you?
Right, because
Like,
conservative media outlets don't push those out there, but they do exist. You can look them up.
Can you provide me any sources, like what percentage of women, biological women, are doing this?
You want like data on like crime and privacy violations in bathrooms?
Like with actual like biological women that are going and doing stuff in bathrooms.
I mean, the links that are in my master doc would contain data on all of the assaults and privacy violations, and they would look at whether or not they were committed by cis people versus trans people, and they found that there was no increase in like trans people committing crimes like before versus after trans protective measures were passed.